All right, so let's talk about the third assignment for this summer course. You are now going to write the rough draft. So it's integral that you go back to the assignment that you just turned in and you look at my comments. So you want to make sure that your thesis is okay to move forward. You want to look at your two sources, your scholarly and your popular, so that you understand the dynamic and the difference between the two, in case you made any errors there, especially when it comes to how do you make a works cited entry for a scholarly source like an online journal article from an online database, or a article that you found online that is generally available on the web. What happens if there is an author, not an author? So walk you through some of those steps. You also have all the examples that I put on the announcements page that you can look over as well as you are compiling more sources, because you need at least 5 sources for the draft. You need at least 5 sources for the essay, but where I'm going with this is this week you need to turn in a full draft. So you're going to write a full 1,500 word essay that has at least 5 sources. That's how you get the full credit. So rough drafts are graded for participation and completion. Participation means it's not AI, that you've participated in the writing process, and it's complete, which means you've turned in a complete draft. Why ask for a complete draft and not just half of it or whatever you could finish? Because that's not very helpful to you. So I've been teaching for 22 years, and yes, it probably would be more convenient for some people not to have to write the entire essay, but I can tell you from 22 years of experience that it is more helpful for you in the long run. Why? Because when I don't do that, which I've gone back and forth, and then it strengthened my opinion that there needs to be a full complete draft given, because the final essays that I get when I only require some of it to be turned in are a lot worse than the ones when I ask for the entire completed draft. Some reasons for that. One, if you're only giving me the introduction or a couple of body paragraphs, no works cited page, no quotes, I'm not able to give you sufficient feedback in order to help you make changes so that you don't make those mistakes on the final, where it's really going to be important for you to maximize the points that you earn. So one of the benefits, if you're working on this draft this week and you're kind of cursing my name going, oh, why do we have to turn in a full thing? It's because I'm going to read the entire thing. I'm going to comment on the entire thing. So you're going to know from the introduction through the body paragraphs through the conclusion, the works cited page, your parenthetical citations, what are you on the right track with, and what do you need to rethink or revisit or change altogether? That's the payoff. That's the benefit. And the more polished your draft is, the better my feedback is going to be. What I mean by that is, if you've already gone through your rough draft, it's not the roughest of rough drafts. What you've done is you've written, revised, you've made some changes, you've been very careful and conscientious with the way you put it together. Then the feedback that I'm giving you is more minute and is less big picture, so that you can make those small changes and guarantee yourself a good grade on the final. Okay, so there is some benefit to putting in the work this week so that you set yourself up to maximize the points, so that when you look at my comments, they're more pointed, they're more minute and sophisticated, more subtle, so that you can make those changes and improve your draft to where you're going to maximize the points that you earn. Okay, so that's the reason behind it. So you want to start drafting the essay. One recommendation that I make is to not start with the introduction. I want you to think for a second. In the past, have I been dinged, which means lost points, or people have commented on the weakness of my introduction? Or have I not felt comfortable with writing a good introduction with a solid, engaging opener? Do I provide titles for my essays? Things like that. Have I been required to in the past? So some of the things that I'm pushing you to do: write a sophisticated, engaging title, write a sophisticated, engaging opener that's going to draw your reader in and make them want to read what you wrote. Do you have a solid thesis? Do you have a line of reasoning that connects your topic sentence? A topic sentence is the first sentence of your body paragraph. Do all your topic sentences, do all your first sentences of your body paragraphs refer back to your thesis statement? Does your conclusion start with a restatement of your thesis in different words? That creates the backbone of your paper. Those are things that I'm looking for. Those are things that you should consider. What I'm going to do is put on the announcements page an example of a engaging opener, good title, so that you have an idea of what you should be thinking of. But again, this is a draft, but the better your draft is and the more you try on it and the more you try to incorporate some of the things that, I'm giving you right now and talking about in the announcements, obviously the better my feedback's going to be, or more helpful my feedback is going to be as you go to revise it. Outside of that, the goal is for you to be learning some research methods. So whatever you did to work your way through to get the 2 sources for this week, do the same thing to find more credible sources. Make sure you have some scholarly sources in there. You can have some popular sources as long as they're credible. And then check the announcements page from last week where I give you examples of the different types of MLA formats for, an article you find online that has an author and comes from an online magazine or a newspaper, or something that comes from a general site that might not have an author versus something that, might not have a date of publication. They're all different kinds of things. No one expects you to memorize these things. We just expect that you're able to find the examples, which I'm providing on the announcements page, and you can take the information on the page of the source that you have and then slot the information in to mirror what is there. And then how do you make a parenthetical citation for those different sources? That's what we're practicing, right? So this is number 1 of 3 essays where you're going to go through this process so that you can learn it, so that when you move into your major or you're taking other classes in the college, you are more capable of doing these things without the instructor having to step in and show you how to do it. So just to recap shortly, you have the rough draft due this week. It is graded on completion and participation. So you can get an easy full credit grade if you turn in an essay that has at least 1,500 words from the title through the conclusion. The works cited page does not count. Neither does MLA general format, which would be your name in the top left and the information needed there. I'll put that in the class announcement too. And then your last name and page number in the top right. So those are necessary, but they don't count towards the word count. The title through the conclusion is the content itself, your actual argument. That needs to be at least 1,500 words for you to get full credit. And you need to have a works cited page with at least 5 sources with quotes integrated into your paper properly in order for you to get the full credit as well. And like I've explained already, that is to help you maximize the points that you get you have available on the final. All right, so remember, raise your hand by sending an email if you have any questions or concerns, but your focus should shift very quickly now to start working on the draft.